Hello. Today we're going to show you how to set up a rule in Pulse. Uh, Only our administrators can do this. So you'll first need to go up here to your initials in the top right corner, and you should have a settings option. If you don't have this permission, then your permission level on your account is not sufficient, and you need to reach out to the administrator on the account to set this up. So we're going to go into settings. And on the left side of the screen, we're going to see rules. Now, the rule is what governs the email to go out. So we would want to also set up either a text template or an email, and you can refer to how to set up those in our other videos prior to doing the rule, as we would need to have content in some form in order for it to go out. Now we're going to go up here to create to make a new rule. And we're going to change our scope to company. This changes it from functional to not functional when we set up a rule. We're going to choose our template. So if we were doing a text piece or text email, we would probably already have that set up as text. And then the content piece, like application, or if it was going to the agents or whatever kind of piece we were doing. If we have an email, we'd probably have it already set up here, similar to like the submitted, suspended, sent to processing kind of emails. So we're going to do sent to processing. Our target is going to be the types of folders that we want our rule to consider. So our active loans are those files that we're actively working on. So in this case, we probably want them. Active leads would be those leads that we are currently working on as well. So in this case, we're actually going to choose 2 because the status could probably be in your leads folder or your loans folder. And we don't want to miss it if it got moved quickly. The other 2 are archived loans, which would be your closed files. And in this case, we don't really want them to be considered for the send to processing. So if we do any updates to make sure that the file is completed or something, without this box checked, it won't actually care about those files at all. And archived leads. Those would be your canceled, denied, adverse files. So we, again, probably don't want this enabled. We don't have to worry about the enabled box. We can mark that if we'd like. Our rules do enable automatically. So if you are just setting this up and are not sure about it being needed quite yet, I would say save it with the setting loan under the scope, and then you can always edit that rule and change it to company, and then disable it at the same time in order to prevent extra or erroneous emails from going out for those files that do meet your condition. And I'll show you that here in a minute. So I'm going to flip it back to loan. Our condition space is where we choose the field that we want to look at to trigger the email. So we're going to look at the sent to processing email, and we can do that just by typing in the box. And we find our status date, which is the one that we want. We want the status date, not the comment. So we're going to mark that one. And by default, we choose the condition of today, which means that that date has to be today's date. We also have other options where that's a day old. Today difference, which is our offset, so that if you would like it to go out, a couple of days after the fact, this function is going to look at today, or start at the date of today. Add or subtract days based on your tolerance, so -10. And if it gets to the same date that's in the box, we send the email. So in this case, I want an email to go out 10 days after the status date. And because our function is starting at today, it will actually need to be a negative number in order to make sure that that goes out, because we're going into the past to go find that status date. So today being 5/29, we would be looking for 5/19 in this status date. Now, that's not a realistic type of rule for this particular status, so I'm going to change that to today. And leave the tolerance blank because I don't need that. In my advanced formula, I only care about line 1, but we do have the ability to add additional items. So as you can see here in my quick help bar, we have 1 and 2, which would mean that I have 2 different pieces that I would like to also be on the file at the same time in order to make the email go out. And then I also have this other one here, which is a much more complicated function. But this is saying that I have to have row 1 or item 1 and either one of items 2 or 3. So in this case, I had probably had 3 different conditions that I needed to care about, but only 2 of them at any given time had to be there. Item 1 all the time, and then item 2 or 3. So this could be like your status date and the cash out or no cash out checkbox. So for like a refinance type of email. The 1 and 2 would be probably your status date and the purchase box on the email. These can get a little complicated, so if you do need help, feel free to always reach out through our help process, and we can assist you in this space. But most of the time, your condition will just be a one-liner, and all you need is number 1. Now we do have this in loan, so we're safe to hit save, and that is going to make our rule for us. Now if I go to the bottom of my rules here on page 2, I'm going to find that new rule, and it is off. Well, it's actually on under the My Enabled column, but because it's under the loan scope, it's actually not looking at any files, which is good because I didn't really want it to run. So we're going to go in here and choose our rule. We're going to disable it and switch it to company and resave. So now it's ready to go at any point when I'm wanting it to go out. I have it set up. All I have to do is enable this to make it run, but in this case I don't want it to run right now, so I'm going to leave it in the off or false status here. So as you can see, we also have a bunch of other email rules in here. Some do have a texting template, which shows up in this other column here, and then some of them are email alerts. So just depending on which type of template you've chosen, if your template name had text as part of it, it will recognize it as a texting template. If it's just a name, then it will recognize it as an email template. So make sure to label your templates appropriately when setting that up, and we do have those videos available if you need help with that.